Popped it.
Hello, everyone. I am Shelby Tuck Horton, Vice President of Education, and my co-counsel and I are really excited and delighted that you are here today to actually learn more about our point system. I know that having been in this position for a while, that the point system can be appear to be a little overwhelming. And we want to today to try to make it a little bit easier for you to understand. And if we get through this and you still have questions and we don't get to all of your questions, you can reach us by email. And if we need to talk to you individually, we will do that because we want you to understand it. And if you are interested in moving
You don't need to
forward,
pay for that.
then we want to
So it's in
provide
this.
you with all the information that you need to do so.
Yes.
So I want to ask you to mute yourself so we won't have background noises. And then I'm going to let Nicole introduce herself.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nicole Council. I'm your executive membership liaison. I'm here in the home office. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have any questions, please just drop them in the chat box and we'll go and check them out at the end to and answer them. Ready, Shelby?
Yes. If I can get everybody to put themselves on mute, please. So what we are planning to do today is to talk about the ABC points grid. What are the different designations? Who's eligible for these designations? Why you may want to get a designation, how to organize all of your sections when you're submitting your binders or your submissions for a designation up level, and examples of how to do it correctly, and some examples of how you may have been submitting them incorrectly. So we're going to go ahead and get started.
Mhm. First, we want to talk about what is the points grid. It's a system to measure the growth and professional development of wedding planners and wedding vendors who are members of the Association of Bridal Consultants. Look at it like this. It's a guide to building your business, setting your goals, and recording your achievements.
So who's eligible for designation? I want to let you know that all members are eligible. However, I don't want you to feel like you are required to do this. You do this because you want to do it. It's not a requirement of ABC for you to become um, a professional or certified or a master. It is available to you if you want to do it. Designations are progressive. So you come in as a registered with sufficient points, you move up to certified. Add more points, and then you move up to professional, accredited, and master. I want to remind you that your points are cumulative. So that means that the points that you have for certified, so say you have 25 points for certified, when you're ready to move to professional and the points requirements are 50, you only need 25 additional points. So your points keep adding up, they're cumulative. You do not have to start all the way back at square one to start getting your points again. You just add on to the points that you already have. So the points that you use for whatever designation you are applying for, you cannot use those points ever again. They are already counted for the points that you have used. And at this time, I also want to remind you that a lot of your points, especially your points in education, and the weddings that you do are only eligible for 4 years. After that, those points expire.
Oh,
So
what
if
the
you
two
took
people
a
things in?
class, if you took
You
a
know what I'm talking
class,
about? Oh, yeah, I got some here though. Can I have one, please?
I need you to mute, please. If you took a class, say in 2020, those points now are ineligible because they only last for 4 years. If you did a wedding in 2019, you won't be able to use that wedding because now that point is ineligible. So just keep in mind that the points are good for 4 years. It used to be three, and I was able to extend it to four. But remember, after 4 years, your points are no longer eligible. So when you send them to us, we're not going to be able to give you credit for them. So just keep that in mind. Okay.
So, what are designations? Well, they're the different levels of membership within ABC. So, as Shelby said, when you join, you are joining as a registered ABC member, and you're starting at 0 points. You're going to use the points guide grid to earn 25 points to move up to certified, and that's your minimum amount. And then you earn 25 more points to move up to professional, and your minimum there is 50 and maximum 74. And then you earn 25 more points to move up to accredited. And when you get to accredited and master, Shelby is going to talk about this a little bit later, but you have to apply. Um, you have to apply to become to accredited, and you have to apply to become a master. And Shelby's going to talk about that a little bit later. But accredited, you need 75 points at least, and master, you need 125 points at least. And remember, this is cumulative. You don't start over, you're steadily moving forward.
So if you think about getting a designation, and remember I said you don't have to if you don't want to. I know some people don't feel like there's a need to do that, and it's okay. You will just stay at your registered um, title. But if you want to move up, these are some reasons to want to up level your designation in ABC. One is recognition of expertise. The more you go up the ladder, the more you're recognized as an expert in your field. Trustworthiness, your clients will more likely trust and respect you more when they see that you are certified in some way, you're professional, you're accredited, because they believe that you put some time into earning this designation. It sets you apart from your competition who is not interested in moving up or up leveling their title. And it shows that you are a participant in continuing education. You know what the latest trends are, you know what's going on in the wedding industry because you are continuing your education. And one of the reasons I moved up to master is because I've wanted personal satisfaction and confidence in what I was doing, and I felt like, no, what better way for me to do this than to up level? So I decided to take the time to move up the scale and become accredited and then become a master. It was personal satisfaction for me. It is also global recognition because we are recognized master wedding planners, accredited wedding planners are recognized throughout the country and recognized on a global level. And your clients may feel like they have really good quality insurance, knowing that you are confident in the service that you offer to them and that you have done all of the work that's needed to gain a professional designation in your area of expertise. And it is a commitment to excellence.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the colors. When you are applying, if you notice there are columns. So if you're applying for certified, you would put all of your points for certified in the yellow column. If you're applying for professional, they all go in the green. Accredited, the blue, and for master in the pink. So what will happen is you will submit your certified wedding planning points, and then we'll send it back, and then you start working on your professional. You submit your professional, and then we'll send it back, and then you'll start working on your blue on accredited. So make sure that you notice at the top too. We also now on the grid, it showcases the minimum amount of points and the maximum amount of points. Now, who does what? So if you are um, wanting to get your certified or your professional designation, you will submit your paperwork to me at members@abcweddingplanners.com.
And if you're applying for certified or master, you send your binders to me at, and I'm going to say at education@abcweddingplanners.com. But if you are sending binders, you want to send your physical binder, you will have to mail that to me. And it is on the designated application and information sheet. And if you are sending it digital, you will then send it to education@abcweddingplanners.com.
Now, where do you find the points grid and the applications on the ABC website? Let me walk you through it. First, when you sign into your ABC website and you click on the member portal, there's a drop down. You go down to point system, click on that. Once you go to the point system, this page pops up and you'll see the designation triangle at the top. Scroll past there, there is a blue box there. It says point grid. When you click on that, it opens up a PDF and there is the points assignment checklist.
Now, if you are applying for accredited or master, you still need to have the points grid, but you will click on the application for accredited, or you will click on the application for master.
Okay. Now, there are currently 9 pages of the ABC point system. When you submit this for your certified or your professional or your accredited or master, you will need to send all 9 pages. It needs to come not pieces, but all 9 in order. The pages are numbered, so you will need to submit them in order. Now, let's talk about how to submit. If you're a certified planner or vendor, professional planner or vendor, how to submit your documentation, your points grid. First, you will need to completely fill out your personal information on each page that is required. So pages 1, 3, 4, 6, and 8 require you to fill in your name and other information, like your email address and your phone number. You do not have to put in your member number at all. You don't have to put that in, so don't worry about that. You will also need to tally your totals and fill in your name, your email under each section where it is required. Now, you may neatly print or use a PDF editor or type in your information. So if you look over here at Shelby Council has put in her email address. She's put in the date. She's put in the address, her phone number. She has her certified wedding planner points in the yellow column and totaled at the bottom. She has her professional wedding planner points applied and totaled at the bottom. She's put her member name and she's put her email address. Once you have done this and you're ready to submit, you will email to members@abcweddingplanners.com. Now, when you email, the first PDF should be your points grid, and everything behind that should be your documentation. Your documentation should be labeled with what it is supposed to be. Sometimes it's hard for us to figure out where you apply those points. So by labeling each of your documents, it lets us know exactly where that points or those points should be applied.
So let's talk about the accredited wedding planner and vendor process. You have to be a professional wedding planner to apply for accredited. With registered and certified and professional, there is no waiting period. if you become a professional, if McCole signs off and you're a professional on Tuesday, you can apply for accredited the next day as long as you have the appropriate number of points. But for accredited but for master, you have to wait a year. You must be an accredited for a year. But if you are ready now to apply, you're a professional and you're ready to apply for accredited, you can do so. You have to have 75 cumulative points. Remember, we talked about you don't have to, once you make a professional with the 50 points, you don't have to start all over again. So if you had 50 points for a professional and you're certified cumulative, then you only need 25 more points to bring it to 75 points that's required for accredited. And you also need proof of that professional points grid. So what we're trying to do now is to have you do that one points grid that will take you through the whole entire process. So you don't have to look for it anymore. You don't have to try, you don't have to say, okay, I have one, but I don't have the other. If you keep track, and you're responsible for keeping track of your grid from certified straight through master. We don't keep copies of your grid or your documentation. You are required to send your points grid that has been signed off. So McCole will sign off on certified and professional. And then when I get it, your point should be on that same. Can we please mute? Because we're getting background noise.
Do you have the ability to mute everybody on your end? I think you should.
I am trying to do that.
Shelby has been muted.
Okay. Let me see, where was I? So you have to submit your points grid. And then one of the other requirements is that you must attend at least one WOW annual conference within the last 4 years. And you can only submit for accredited points, new points that you did not use from your professional designation. If you all have any questions about that, I want you to put it in the chat, and we're going to talk about that at the end of the presentation. Now you have to be, which one are we on? Your previous points, we already.
Which one are you on?
Which one?
Submitting your accredited wedding planner vendor application.
So we finished the other one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm trying to let people in, trying to mute people, and trying to stay on point with this presentation. So you all give me a little bit of grace. With your validated points for up to professional, then you will send that to me along with all the supporting documents for your new documentation. You also need a letter of recommendation from your state manager or your country coordinator or a master wedding planner or vendor. You just need somebody to address your character and your involvement in ABC. So if you're in a state without a state manager, you can always come to a master wedding planner or master wedding vendor and have them to write that letter for you. You need proof that you attended at least one conference in the last 4 years, and then you are required to write 2 essays. And I think there's no more than 250 to 350 words. And a part of your submission, after including your grid, your points grid, and including all of your documentation, is that you need a portfolio of one of the weddings that you have planned and executed. This says 3, but it is 4 now. We've extended it to 4. And with that, you need that wedding that you are including in your binder. you have to be the lead planner for that particular wedding. So if you work for a company and somebody else led that wedding, you cannot submit that wedding. You have to be the lead planner. So you include information about that wedding and about your business. So you include your business card, any professional handouts you have. This is just showing us that your business is established. You need a copy of the contract or the agreement for that wedding. You need 2 items, maybe a copy of the invitation or a copy of a program if you have it, just two items from the wedding, and 6 to 10 wedding photos. Now, these can be photos that you put on one page. They can be current, like individual photos if you want to do that, but I'm going to suggest that you just make it easy for yourself and just put 6 to 10 of those photos on one page. Then there should be a follow-up evaluation from the client and 2 of the vendor partners that you worked with on the wedding. Your summary and evaluation of the event, how it was good, what challenges that you experienced, and why did you select that wedding. So you will have in the front of your binder your points grid, and then you will have categorized for all of the 5 sections, all of your new documentation. And then at the end, you can put your wedding with all of this information that I just covered. So points grid in the front of the binder, then education is first. So you will have your education documentation, and then it will follow just like the points grid. Don't get it out of order. So if you took a class and you put 1 by something, make that your first documentation. Then in the back, you will have the wedding that you're submitting, your essays and your letter of recommendation, or the letter from your state manager, or a master wedding planner or vendor will go in the front, like right before you put your points grid in there. Does that make sense? So you're going to have a binder that's no more than 2 inches thick. You include your cover page with your name, your contact information, and your mailing address. Then you'll put, just like I said, you put your essays following that cover page and all of your accredited points. Remember, you can't use the points that you use for professional. These are all new qualifying points, and all of your documents following the grid. So organize it, make it easy for us when we get it. So don't make us have to hunt all over your binder looking for information. So put it in the same order as the points grid. And that last section is for you to include your wedding with all of your supporting documentation that I just talked about. Now, we've been trying this now and been pretty successful.
Can you go back to the previous slide so I can take a screenshot?
Sure. Can you go back, Nicole?
Thank you.
Okay. So we've been pretty successful with sending it to me electronically through Dropbox or some comparable program that can submit and transfer large numbers of documents. And I did receive one from Google Docs, but make sure that you still have everything organized as it is in the points grid. And then make sure if you're sending it to me digitally, that if you're scanning something, make sure you're scanning it so that I can read it and not have to look at it sideways. If it's hard for me to find your documents, or if it's hard for me to read, then I'm going to put it aside because it's just too difficult. So if you're going to do it just like we said. So that way it's so much easier for us to follow all of your points, because sometimes you all have points in there that you forgot to add to your sheet, or that you have points that you didn't give me documentation for. When you put it in there the right way, then it's so easy for me to see what's missing or to see where I can add another point. And then, as McCole said, make sure your telephone number is up there, because I don't want to send this back to you and say you need to resubmit because you don't have enough points. I am going to call you and ask you where your points are, because you may have just forgot to send something to me, but I need the number that I can really reach you on. So put the best number to reach you at the top of your points grid. So for accredited, you can submit it anytime between January and the end of October. But the closer you get to the end of October, when there's conference, and then when we get back from conference, it's the holiday season is beginning, and then all of us who work in ABC also have other businesses as well. So there's a lot going on, and I can't promise you that it will be quickly returned to you. It may not get back to you until January. So I would love to get it like no later than the 1st of October. But if you can't get it to me before then, send it to me knowing that you might not get it right away. It might be as late as January.
And the same goes for the points grid as well.
Yes. So is this you? Okay.
Education.
For education, we need at least 15 points. I want you to pay attention to those numbers at the top of the points grid where it says minimum. Well, it actually says in the smaller columns, it says min and max. I need you all to send the minimum number of points in each of those categories. Now, because education is something that you all do so well, the maximum points for education is 40. And sometimes when you get to accredited, by that time you have already reached 40 points. So if you know in professional that you already have been certified for 40 points and McCole signed off on it, if you send me 10 more points in education, you've already maxed out, so that I can't count those points. So I want you to keep in mind the minimum and the maximum. And for accredited and master, if I don't get the minimum, I can return it to you. So make sure that you have the minimum in each of those categories, especially for master and for accredited. Pay attention to the minimum and the maximum, and know that I know sometimes people send it to me because they want to get all their education included. The only thing I can do, if you've reached 40 and you send me qualifying points for 45, I still can only allow 40 points.
Okay, so as Shelby said, a lot of people have been maxing out in education. So I'm gonna try my best. I've been working with a few members to try to spread it out across the entire grid. And so for the professional industry experience, minimum is 10 points and maximum is 30. So if you notice, this is the section 2 where it talks about planning and coordinating. I want to point two things out. First, the third box down where it says coordinated and directed or serviced event, vendors can use this. And for when you're doing your business is doing a wedding or some kind of event, this is where you add your points at. The fourth box where it says plan, coordinate, and direct it, you use that if you are the lead planner. You're the lead planner and submitting your contract or any documentation that shows that. Now, remember, I've had a member and I had to talk her down. She tried to submit 25 weddings and certified. Well, the problem was that in this section, you can only do a maximum of 30. So it wasn't spread across the grid. So when she would have gotten to accredited, she would have been maxed out, because when you get to accredited, you can submit 10 weddings or events. Now for accredited, it could be weddings or events. And with the um, weddings, it has to be what, at least half weddings? Am I
Yeah,
correct, Shelby? At least
yeah.
half weddings.
But
And
it includes baby showers and parties, but half of them have to be weddings.
yes, so we don't want you to max out. And I'm gonna try to help, like I said, I'm gonna try to help you the best I can to spread it out. Now, when we look at the leadership and participation, and again, a minimum of 10 points and a maximum of 30. If you notice, the first thing says ABC membership. Now, you can show your membership certificate. Now, I can only go back as far as 2024 for me, because that's when ABC, as you know it now, started. So I can only go back. If you did not receive a certificate for 2024, because 2024 was a blur for some of us. So just email me and ask for a certificate. Also, you can go into your members portal. In your portal, there's also a membership card. You can print out that membership card as well and use. Now, I will say this: state managers and LNG co-director, there is a need for those in certain states. So you can reach out to our VP of membership, who is Lois Pierce, and you can just inquire about it. That is a way to show leadership. ABC always needs help. Now, there is a section here, Shelby, that
Okay, so there's some questions about where it says PWP, PWV, and it says 2 points. You can get 2 points. You get 2 points for that if you're applying for accredited. So when it says you can't use those points if you're applying, it means you can't, if you are applying for a professional, you can't use those 2 points. But if you're applying for accredited, you use those 2 points um, as your qualifying points. And the same for accredited, you get 4 points when you're applying for master. You can't use this if you are applying for certified or professional.
okay. And also, if you drop down, there are different things up here. When you call, and you can schedule a meeting with me, and we can talk about maybe a document that you may have that you're not sure where exactly it goes. I get a lot of people that are part of other industry professional they have other designations from other. You can apply that. You just have to submit your certificate, and then we can apply the points. Now, when you look here, this is still part of leadership. Now, sometimes I know the last conference, several people reached out and wanted to help. Send me an email, and I will forward it to the right person. This is another way that you can earn points. Now we want to talk about the professional industry contributions. You get a minimum of 5 points here, and you max out at 25. This is where you can have articles published. I mean, we have Wedding Planner magazine. So it's digital now. We're always looking for people to write articles. There is also on the website a place where you can submit the idea that you have. This is a great way to earn points. Be a speaker at an ABC meeting. There are lots of LNG meetings going on. If you've been paying attention to the education on the portal, where you can reach out to that to speak at the meeting and have a discussion about it. You can publish a book or either co-author. There are lots of ways here that you can earn points. Now, this section here, if you notice up here, you can be a guest speaker. at a in a class somewhere. And if you notice, if you look up here, you see the word teach, teach, teach. Well, our president reached out and she put out an email not too long ago requesting teachers. Um, ABC has partnered with Longevity, and you can apply to be a teacher. Now, where do you find this information? You find this information on the ABC website. If you go, you look under education, then you scroll under all those beautiful teachers that are listed and posted up there. And at the bottom, there's a button, and it's a blue button that says click here to get more information. And you also have, if you apply, and if there's a need in your area, you have you can also teach online as well. But I suggest you go there and you get more information. This is another way that you can earn points. Now, this here is where a lot of our members don't meet the minimum. And the minimum is 5 points and the max is 25. Now, the first one says members in other industries, such as membership in NACE or ALEA. That's just to name a few things. And then go down to where it says community, charity, organization. Now, as a planner, we are always organizing, whether we want to or not, but we are always organizing events at church, our kids, little league teams, sorority fundraisers, golf tournaments, things like that. You can write those up. Have your pastor, a coach, or president of the organization write a letter on your behalf. And also remember, for each section, you need to total it. At the end of each section, it says the name of that section, and then it has the word total. So total your points.
So for accredited and master, you do have to pay with your submission. It's $125 for accredited. If you don't make it, the resubmit fee is $50. But I work with you every way possible to get you through. If you are close to those points, if you're following what we're saying today and you know that you can't send it without the required number, at least the minimum number of points, then you'll know to make sure you have all your points before you send it, because I do not like returning anybody's binder because they didn't make it because they were 1 or 2 points short. So I'll keep it here for a month waiting for you to send proof to me that you did something, or we might go through your binder and see if there's another place where we can get your points, the qualifying points. But I hate to send them back, but if I do, the resubmit fee is $50. For master, it's $300, and the resubmit fee, if you don't make it, is $150. Then you mail your binders in using the address. We didn't put my address on here, but it's on the application. And please note that we don't have the space to keep a copy of all your binders and points grids. That is your responsibility. I know people get mad at me because I don't have your points grid, or that I don't have a copy of what you sent when I returned your binder. It's your responsibility. That's a part of your professionalism. So make sure you keep it. Keep all of your information, because that is your responsibility. Now, the master process is just a little bit different also from the accredited. So you are going to do the same thing as far as submitting the new points that you've acquired from when you received your accredited. You still need new points to meet the minimum requirement to become a master, which is 125 cumulative points. I always ask you to throw an extra point in there just in case one of the points are not qualifying, but you need a minimum of at least 125. So you submit your binder and or your electronic submission with your new points, your documentation, and your master's point grid. So it should be the same one that you had from accredited. You're just using the same grid, but putting your new qualifying points on there. And it should be in the same order, your new points in the same organized order as the points grid. So once you send that to me, then I have to make sure that all your points are approved before I can let you know if you can go before the panel. So you still submit your binder, and then if you make it, then you go before the panel. But remember, if you qualify with your 125 points, it doesn't mean that you are automatically a master. It means that you are now qualified to go before the panel. When you qualify to go before the panel, I'll send you a letter or an email. I'll return your binder. And at that point, I'll give you all the information that you need to submit for your presentation before the master panel. So you will have to send all of your applications to become a master by July 1st, because we need to know how many people we have going before the panel. The panel needs to be selected. You need to get your essays in. You need to do all of that prior to going before the panel. So it's important that you remember that the deadline for master submissions is July 1st. If I don't have it by July 1st, I can't look at it to move you forward so that you can go to the panel. So you're sending it, there's two parts to the master. You are submitting your points grid and all your qualifying points. Once I let you know that you met that requirement, then you are going to have to write an essay. You're going to have to submit your portfolios closer to the time of conference where you're providing all the information to the panel. So remember, it's a two-step process. One, you send me all of your documentation and your new points for master. If you qualify, then I'm going to send you the information that you need to prepare for the master panel. And that would be 2 essays, can you switch the next one, Nicole? It'll be 2 essays. You will have your wedding that is a choice of a wedding that shows your master level. It should be a wedding, not just a pretty wedding, but one that is challenging, one that the panel can look and say, oh my gosh, she did an amazing job, because there were so many problems that she had to handle and the client didn't even know it. So you're going to put in there your, not just a pretty wedding. It's okay if it's pretty, but it's more important that it's a challenging wedding to show your master skills. And then you will provide 3 copies. This is not until you'll bring them to conference with you, because you do have to come to conference when you are going before the board, before the panel. You're going to have 3 copies, because there are 3 people on the panel and each one of them need your binder. So at this point, you could do a binder, or you could do a photo book like a Shutterfly and put all of your documentation into that. If this is overwhelming to you, I really give you point by point by point directions on how to do this if you make it with your qualifying points to the point that you're going before the panel. So you give your contract and agreement of the client of that wedding. You're going to submit your budget for the wedding, the schedules that you use, the long term, and the wedding day itinerary. You're going to explain how you coordinate it with your service providers and vendors and your assistants. And you include photos so that the panel can have an idea of your beautiful but challenging wedding. And then you're required to write a follow-up evaluation from the client and 2 service providers that can speak on behalf of this wedding. This all goes to the 3 people that are on the master panel. I don't want you to get overwhelmed with this at this point because I'll give you exactly what you need when you meet that requirement. So you'll have from July until October to compile all of that in the right way. And I'm actually will be your coach to make sure you get it done correctly. When you go before the panel, you have 20 minutes to present your wedding, 20 minutes for the panel to deliberate, and 20 minutes for them to give you feedback on your presentation. It is at this time that you will find out if you are a master or not. If you don't make master at this point is the time that you will have to reply and go through the whole process again. So going before the panel doesn't automatically make you a master. Remember, you are scored on your presentation. That's why McCole will start you out when you're applying for certified and professional. That's why I'm a stickler when it comes to me with your whole binder and the way that it's put together properly and in order. Because when you get to apply for master, what you're giving the masters, they're going to score you on your presentation, whether you looked at them directly and gave eye contact, whether you wore professional attire when you presented, if you were prepared for your presentation, and if you submitted a challenging wedding. Remember, not just a pretty wedding, not just a pretty wedding that was a celebrity's wedding, but one that offered challenges. Then all deliberations are final, but the panel will give you feedback on what to work on if you choose to resubmit for master again. And there's a lot of our members who didn't make it on the first try, but they tried again. Sometimes they didn't make it on the second try.
This thing has a mind of its own. Okay. So we're gonna start at where you are now. So when you sign up to be an ABC member, you automatically can use the ABC logo in your email, on your signatures, your website, your literature. Let everybody know that you're an ABC member. Then once you get each of your designations, you can use
Planning and
these.
design. Just wanted to reconnect with you to let you know that our client, that you had given me a party host helper.
If you could you okay, thank you. Now you can use each of these badges as well beside your ABC logo. Where do you find these? It is on the ABC website. All you have to do is right click. Now, once you reach the professional level, your your tile or your name will be visible on the ABC website. So that is a goal for everybody is to once you go become registered to certify, once you reach the professional wedding planner or wedding vendor, you are visible in the membership directory for ABC. Now, I want to talk about some of the things that we have been receiving. I just want to share with you. Believe it or not, yes. Now, I recreated these, but these are what not to do. Okay. So if you look at the first one, it was scanned cricket and it was sent it sent to me. And this is Shelby Council did this, and Shelby Council, she struggled. So she sent it in cricket and it was kind of wrinkled and we couldn't see it. So then she did it again. And when Shelby did it, it included things in the background. So there was a picture that she took of it, and I couldn't upload it, download it, whatever you say, to actually go through and give her the points that I had sent it back. Then Shelby Council went through and she wrote it in pencil and she just wrote all over the paper. It was messy. I couldn't read it. And she just didn't take her time and she scanned it. And it's fine if it comes in black and white, but it has to be legible. We have to be able to read. So, and this is what I use this all the time. How you do anything is how you do everything. If I don't set you up for success from the beginning, then I will not be doing my job. So before I send you to Shelby, it will be right. Now, I'm not saying that you have to type it in there, but you can download it and upload it into a PDF editor. If some of you know great PDF editors that you use, type it in the chat box so that others can use that one as well. You can neatly write it. You can scan it in. If you can't do any of those things and you can just type it out, email it to me. Email it to the ABC Home Office, P.O. Box 2, Gibsonville, North Carolina, 27249. And send me an email. Let me know it's coming. Now, it's snail mail, so it may come through slowly, but then we'll be on the lookout for it. But we are here to help you, and we want to make sure that you do it correctly. Because remember, this is cumulative. So each time you are going to fill this out, and you'll get my signatures, and then this same sheet is going to go over to Shelby. And this same Shelby's going to approve the accredited. And then this same sheet, once you start working on your masters, is going to be what goes to the master panel. And you want to deliver and you want to give your best.
So there's a lot in the chat, McCole.
Okay.
So
We'll
let's
go to questions then.
tackle this real quick.
Okay.
Can you see the chat as well?
I am going to it myself. Hold on. Ooh, you all were busy. Okay.
Well, some of them is that they're letting us know that they're there. If you logged in late, if you could just give us a hello so that we know that you were here,
Yes.
so that we can give you credit for attending. I do like what Joanne said. She didn't feel the need for the titles until she started working with luxury weddings. They hire me over those without designations or titles because they understand the work that goes into getting titles and designations. So that is just echoing some of the reasons that I had given for obtaining your designation. I think that's a really great way. I know that no one that ever hired me because I was a master planner, but they were really proud and told everybody that our wedding planner is a master wedding planner. So they take pride in knowing that you took the time to get your designation.
I'm looking at the next one. It says, so 25 points to move to certified. Is it possible to move up 2 levels? You can move from registered to certified to professional, but you have to have the right documentation and the right amount of points. I've been working with members to get the points in the right places and everything. And remember, I'm checking dates and everything. So yes, but you have to wait a year after you get your professional designation to apply for accredited.
Yeah, and you can't skip a level. You just have to, because it's cumulative points, and
Right.
there's leveling to the way that we do it. But you can do it right away. You can go from registered to certified to professional to accredited. You just have to wait 1 year to go to master.
And how do you want us to send it digitally to you? I'm guessing that is to Shelby.
Yeah, you can send it to me digitally. I actually prefer digital. I just recently received one using Dropbox, and the way that she organized it is that she used a folder and had her points grid in the folder. The second folder was all her documentation for education. For each one of the 5 sections, she put it in a separate folder. So I took her points grid and was able to go to each section and look at it to make sure and verify the points. It made it so easy for me. But when you all give me, like if you put your education points back there with the giving back, I have to search all over the place for it, and it's going to take up too much time. So I just stop and I put it aside and do something that do one that comes in that's organized and easier for me to see. And then I can walk you through it when I have the time to do it. So make sure that if you don't take anything away from this, remember that use the same organization that is on the points grid so that we can easily follow it. So you can use Dropbox or any other large transfer digital files. Like WeTransfer, I think is one, Dropbox. But someone did send me something in Google Drive and I was able to follow it. Just make sure it's organized though. Just make sure it's organized. And then you'll email it to me at education@abcweddingplanners.com.
And also remember, sometimes with Google Drive, it doesn't work with all platforms. But sometimes it comes in and we can't open it. So we may have to shift gears. That has happened to me.
Yeah, that's why I like Dropbox because I can
Mhm.
open it, but I can't always open. I have to always ask you for permission to let me in. But if that's the only way you can do it, and that means you're going to go ahead and send it. I don't want to hold you up from sending it. You can use Google Drive, but remember, you have to give me permission to get in.
And I'm reading this one. You don't skip levels. You have to apply points for certified up to 25 points. And then you apply points for professional. And then you apply points for accredited. So each time you apply those points, they have to add up to 25 more points. Can they add up to more than that? Absolutely. That just means if you put in this section, you get up to 50 points, and let's say you submit 60 points, then that means you only need how many? Am I calculating right? 15 more points to get up to accredited. So, but you have to get at least the minimum for each part up to the maximum to move over. So it's not skipping levels. And
CJ wrote, even as a vendor, everything that I hope I'm getting your question right, but everything that we talked about and we said planners, it also applies to vendors.
can we use testimonials?
Testimonials and reviews for evaluations. You're going to use evaluations for master, and you'll use feedback in your accredited. It's not required for professional, certified or professional.
All right, I'm looking. What is a schedule of long range planning itinerary? Kind of like when you first contract a wedding, it's like your month-to-month planning. What is it that you do each month with that client? So it is in a sort, it's a timeline. It's just not like the day of timeline. It's the overall timeline for that event, the process that you're doing in order to get to that client's day.
Like what you did in January, what you did in February, what you did in April, like what was scheduled for you to do with the client.
Yes. Follow-up evaluations from the client and two vendors of how the event went, or an evaluation of you and your service. So
go ahead, Nicole.
No, I believe that is are you talking about that section where it was discussing I forgot which section it was, the contributions, like, and I was talking about from the coach, the past, is that what?
It really should be an evaluation of you and how you work with the team and how you worked with the vendors, like from the vendors' perspective of how you worked that wedding, and your client's perspective of how you worked that wedding.
Okay. Can other types of events be submitted or only weddings? For accredited, it can be other types of events. You have to submit 10, at least 5 of them have to be weddings, but you can do baby showers, 50th anniversaries, all those types of things. As a vendor, are we required to plan a wedding for submission, or what are we required to submit when applying for master designation?
So vendors as well as planners have challenges in their weddings. So what you're submitting is a wedding that you had challenges in. So for whatever whatever vendor capacity that you're working in. It has to be that you met and you worked out all the issues for that challenge, and you present those issues in that wedding with all those issues in it, and explain how you took care of it. It doesn't have to be just from a planner's perspective, but if you're a vendor, how you did that, how you worked that wedding, how you did that.
Okay. Can will this be sent out after the call? Absolutely. Once we get it all prim and prime. And then can we send you a copy of our documentation or the original, Shelby?
I actually like for you to send me a copy, because if you mailing it to me, I never know what the post office is going to do with it, or if I'll get it. So I would rather for you to send me a copy. And if you are sending it electronically, I'm always going to get a copy. It's going to be a copy. So I'm okay with copies. You don't need to send me your originals.
And yes, membership work goes back to 2020, but I'm going to say this, going back, and it would be to what, 2021, because we're already 2025. So looking back 4 years, I could possibly type up a letter, but making certificates for all the way back then, that would be a big task for me to do it for every single person. Okay, but we can work something out, and Shelby and I will talk about that. For certified, can you get points for events, or is it only points for weddings? You can get points for events. Do we mail it, or can we send Google Docs?
I think we answered Tanya's question.
Yeah, just to confirm, if I'm applying to accredit it, I start from 0 for my points, because none of the points I received to be professional do not count anymore, correct?
No, we've been talking about your points being cumulative. So whatever you received in certified or professional, they're accumulated. If you had 25 for certified, and then you obtain 25 more, and you have 50, those are cumulative points. You never go back to zero. Never
Right.
go back to zero. They're always accumulating.
L'Oreal, give me a call and let's look through your stuff and let me look to see what certified and professional what you have. Okay. Um, PDF filler and Canva docs are good to use. Adobe is excellent to use. Um, I think that's any more
I just
questions.
want you all to really take pride, just like you do in your events and what you submit. I know you want to hurry up and get it done, but I want you to take pride in what you're doing. And when you get to master, it really will take points away if it's not professionally presented. And I hope that you all can understand that, being professionals that you are. If you're just going to give us something that you just laid it on the desk and you snapped a picture of it and your whole keyboard is in the back of it, it's not professional. It doesn't look good. So if you start that habit of making sure you're sending it to us very professional and in order and organized, when you get to the level of master, it's not going to be a big deal. It's it's going to be very well received.
Um, Tia, to make sure your team members get the proper credit for their events, other than them clearly adding that they are lead planner, should they do or have anything else maybe noted in the timeline or wedding day documentation?
The contract needs to say that they were the lead planner.
And Tanya, I'm not sure this, I only have that in an app. How would I get that? I'm not sure what that is. You can just explain down in the chat. And how do I show proof of a college degree? Um, my college degree hangs on my wall, so you can take a picture of it and submit it. But make sure it's clear that we can see it. You can also reach back out to your college as well. They have a database that they can send. It may not be the actual degree, but they can send a letter saying that you graduated on this day during this time. Okay, time your process. you can print it out for the long range. You can simply just print it out. May not necessarily be the Shelby, do you want the whole entire thing? But if you show what somebody's doing for the month of January, February, March, whatever. I know
we need an outline. That's what's going to go
outline.
for the master panel. They want to know how you plan this wedding. That's really what it's for. They need to see as much because they don't know who you are. So they need to see, they can't just assume that you did something on that you did this or that. So you want to make it clear what you did through the whole process from the time that you contracted up until the time that you executed the wedding. And if it's in a database, you can just put it on paper and say that this is what you did, this is when you did it, just so that they can have it and know how you did it. This is like, say the wedding is in October and January, you contracted with the client in February, you sourced out the vendors and the production team on whatever you did. That's what we're looking for, what your process was for getting to the wedding.
Tanya, just give me a call and we'll look through it together and figure out how we can condense it. Okay. I think that is all the questions in the chat.
I see one from Callie.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Callie,
Callie.
if there's when you're applying for master under professional industry contributions, I was approved for 5.5 points for accredited. Under master, it says you need a minimum. Yeah, you still need 4.5 points. And I'm going to talk to you about that because I think that you have more than that. So all of the help that you've been giving, all of the work that you've been doing with the leadership team, you get points for all of that. So let me talk to you individually about that and if you all are looking for points, just ask one of the leadership teams if there's a project that you can work, leadership team members, if there's a project that you can help them on. Like, I'm always looking for somebody to help in education. So if you want to work with me, there's a guarantee that you're going to get 2 points if you put in the time and the effort to work with us. So if you're saying I can't get other points, it's like Hallie works her behind off. So she's easily going to get these points, but she just probably doesn't know that she has them already.
Yeah. And Carolyn, you reach out to Shelby for accredited or master. And for those, again, you reach out to me for certified and professional.
Okay, I think that's it. We kept it longer than we wanted to, but I hope that you all were able to get a little bit more clarity with this. And if you didn't, if you're applying for certified and professional and you still have questions, email Nicole.
Email me.
If you have questions about master and accredited, email me and we'll set up a time to chat about it. Okay?
All right. Thank you all.
Appreciate you all for being here. And for those of you who stayed the rest of the time, thank you.
Thank you. And remember, we're here to help.